Hey everyone, it's Cupquake, and today I decided to do something a little bit different. I am painting something, but I decided to do a little tutorial or guide for you guys because I've been getting a lot of requests to do this. So I hope this helps you guys. So here we go. So I'm going to be painting on wood, and I am using oils. So whenever you paint on something with oils, you need to prime it. So there's a few things you're going to need. You're going to need gesso, and I am using clear gesso because I want some of the wood to show through. You're going to need a little spongy brush. These are really inexpensive and can be found at any art supply store. And you're going to need a little bit of water, just a little bit. So make sure to shake your gesso because sometimes it clogs up. And you want to just drip it like so. You don't need that much, but you're going to spread it evenly. So you want to dip the little sponge into the water, get it a little wet, not too much, and just go ahead and try and make the surface as flat as you can with very minimal brush strokes. I really like a smooth surface to work on, so I do a few coats of this. Whenever you work with oils, you want to make sure you prime whatever surface you're working on. It can be canvas, illustration board, wood, and you want to have it flat like this. Once it's like this and nice and shiny, you're going to go ahead and place it in the sun. And the reason why I do this is because oils deteriorate and they seep in the surface, so you want to protect the surface so it lasts longer. So once it's dry to the touch, I like to sand it. So I have a 3M, this is the lightest sandpaper there is, and what you want to do is I like to fold it into a square and just sand it in a circular motion like this. And you don't want to put too much pressure because you don't want to get rid of all of the protection, but once you're done, dust it off and you're ready to paint. Alright, so since I'm using oils, you cannot use water for your brushes. So I use odorless terpenoid, and I like to put it in a jar. I already have a jar full of it, but this is from a prior painting and it's already dirty. The paints sink to the bottom, so you can switch jars back and forth. So this should be enough terpenoid. I use disposable palettes. You can use whatever you like. I just like a fast cleanup. And also these blue paper towels come really handy when it comes to painting. They're actually more absorbent than the usual. Also a palette knife, for those of you guys who don't know how to use it, it's to mix your paints. So you mix them like that. I'll show you guys in a little bit with some paints how to do it. And on to the brushes. I have a big collection of brushes here. I like to use synthetic brushes whenever I paint, but the problem is with oils, they really ruin the brushes, so you're going to have to replace them. But you can use hog's hair or horsehair brushes, whatever you're comfortable with. This is actually hog's hair right here. I also have fan brushes like these ones. These are also really good for blending. So now we can move on to the paints, and I have them in this really handy container that you could stack and put a lid on so it's easy to transport. When you start off, you absolutely do not need these many paints. I just have this many paints because I had to take a painting class and they were recommended. I would recommend Alizarian Crimson, which is that one right there. A big tube of white because white seems to go really fast. Some sort of brown. This is burnt umber. And blue. This is actually cobalt blue. And I also would recommend ultramarine blue because these are different types of blues. There's warm and cool colors. Also, what else do I have in here? Oh, yellow. Naples yellow is really good for skin color. And also a raw umber is also another type of brown. We have a cadmium yellow light and cadmium yellow medium, which is really good. And what else is there? I would also recommend a yellow ochre. And you can also get some fun colors like this really bright pink or this really pretty blue. Cerulean blue is a really nice color, but it's really up to you. Basically, all you really need is red, yellow, and blue, and you should be set. So here's a few more things that I use. I use a sponge to blend sometimes. Also this other type of sponge for a really nice texture, and some of you guys may have noticed that I use a cloth. This is actually an old t-shirt that I just tore up. It's cotton, and I use it to blend. So this is how my palette usually ends up looking. I don't like to use black, so a good way to make black would be a mix of red, blue, and some sort of brown. And just go ahead and mix them all together. You'll get really nice warmth in your black, and it won't be so flat. You could go ahead and add more brown if you want it to be darker, but just go ahead and mess around with the amount of colors you add, and it's basically trial and error. So this is how you use a little palette knife. So whenever you start off a painting, you want to start off with the background. You want to do the background first and get the background out of the way and start moving more closer to the foreground. So I am just laying down some really fast color, and I think I use a little blending technique in this one too. But I want some texture in the background, so I'm actually using my piece of old shirt to create a texture in the background, and I feel like it's a really cool technique. And you can even dip in the cloth into the paint to make it darker, so you don't have to use your brush at all for this, and I think it's a really handy technique. So once I finish the background, I'm going to go ahead and fill in the foreground, the closest thing in the foreground. You do this because your oils tend to mix, and oils take a long time to dry. So you have to be really careful on working on a painting, because things can get mushy if you aren't careful about things. But one thing I really love about oils is that you can keep working on it. You can blend really well, and if you want to take a break, you can come back to it and just start up right where you left off. Unlike acrylics, where the paint dries really fast. So I have already made my black, and I am painting a little cake in his hands, but it's really nice to see a variety in the blacks. You can see some reds and blues and purples, and I think that's what kind of makes it interesting. If this was just black out of the tube, it would not look interesting at all. So I'm going to go ahead and put some final touches in the background with a sponge, put some pencil in there to define some edges, and a little smiley face to make it a little happy. So I hope this helps you guys. Good luck to you all. This is a learning process, so I'm warning you, it's going to take time. Don't get frustrated, just keep at it, and you guys will be great in no time. Thanks for watching. See you later.